Well, hi there. Where have you been hiding?
Well, since you like The Shining so much, I want to tell you what happened to Danny after he left the Overlook. Here's Dr. Sleep.
Hello, Danny.
Just watch. It's interesting, I promise.
It better be.
So after Wendy and Danny escaped the Overlook Hotel, they wanted to go somewhere where they would never have to see snow again. So they moved to Florida, America's flaccid penis.
You like it? People love to look at it.
But when the Overlook got condemned because apparently one more murder was just way too much for people.
Excuse me, but this place didn't have a murder rate until you people showed up.
It's still hard for me to believe it actually happened here.
The ghosts now come to visit Danny all the way across the country, and they're still so strong that even Wendy can see evidence that they've been there.
I don't see what the fuss is about.
Danny hasn't spoke since he left, until Dick shows up. Then Danny's like, "You lying motherfucker, you said they couldn't hurt me." But Dick tells him that he didn't know that because he isn't as shiny as Danny.
Oh shit. What was your first clue?
But he can't help him deal with the stalker ghosts and teaches him how to lock them in coffins in his mind.
What happens to them in those boxes? Do they die in there?
Do you care?
Dick also tells Danny to pay it forward and help somebody else who shines. But Danny's like, "I'm going to do everything I can to never shine again." And he does this over the next 30 years with large quantities of alcohol.
The mind is a blackboard, and this is the eraser.
Then one morning, he wakes up next to some coked out skank he picked up at a bar, and he decides to steal her money. But on his way out, he sees that she has a kid. So he puts the kid next to her, and a pile of vomit on the bed, and when he's about to leave, Dick shows back up, and he's like, "You lowlife piece of shit. Are you really gonna steal from a single mother you banged last night?" And he's like, "Yep," and fucks off.
So I'm running away from myself.
He goes as far as moving states, where he meets this guy Billy, who really likes choo-choos.
Hey, you! Do you know what kind of train this is? It's a Baldwin 284 S3 class Berkshire-type steam locomotive.
Nerds.
Billy offers to hire him part-time, and even helps him get a room to rent, because he gets feelings about people.
So he shines.
Kinda.
Is that like sparkles?
But that's good enough to help Danny, who has a nightmare a few days later about the skank and her kid. She ended up choking on her own vomit, and then the kid starved to death after he left him. Now they're visiting him as ghosts.
They were used to hearing you cry, because I left him alone so much.
You are the queen bitch of all time.
Well, I guess it's a good thing he kept the money, because it's sure as hell not going to do them any good.
You've got a darkness in you, dear.
See, it's crap like that makes your mom think I'm a bad influence. But you're not wrong.
Bleeding hot, this one.
So he goes to Billy for help and starts getting sober.
Hey, Sparkles, here's the deal.
At his first meeting, Danny meets this doctor who's really nice to him. And since he's feeling guilty about the dead skank and the baby, he tells him how to find a watch he lost. Which of course, freaks the doctor out, especially since he knows what's wrong with the kid he thinks stole his shit.
I never told you any of that. How could you know this?
After finding the watch, the doctor calls Danny into his office, and he wants to know how he knew.
It was as though I'd been here before.
But Danny doesn't really have a good explanation.
A lucky guess.
My ass.
But the doc still offers him a job as an orderly at a nursing home.
The dying people bother you?
It's something that's been known to give a few people second thoughts about the job.
Well, that sounds fine to me.
One night while he's at work, he sees Azzy the cat break into somebody's room and lay on him in the middle of the night.
Well, cats are the guardians of the underworld.
He tries to get it to leave, but the patient wakes up and tells him that Azzy is a psychic cat and always hangs out with somebody who's about to die.
Freaked me out because he basically told me when my number was up.
The guy's scared, so Danny talks to him telepathically and lets him know it's going to be okay. And then he dies. And when he does, Danny and Azzy watch his soul leave his body and fuck off.
May the force be with you.
And when he gets home that night, there's a message on his wall. It just says hello, so he writes back to see what happens, but nothing does. But a town over, a little girl Abra, who writes her hellos just like that, giggles herself to sleep.
Why do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me?
She's super shiny like Danny, and does some freaky shit like levitate spoons, and plays the piano while she's asleep. Now look, I know her name's Abra, but the fact of the matter is, her parents do not know she's magic, and the idea that they named her Abra, like abracadabra,
Abracadabra?
is just stupid. So I'm gonna call her Abra, because that's a normal name.
I'm not saying it's a stupid name, I'm just saying that it's not normal.
And for the next 8 years, Danny is Abra's pen pal.
Abra! I know her name!
And then he gets sober, and keeps doing that Dr. Kevorkian shit.
That's why I'm here.
Things seem to be going pretty well for him, until the night he gets his 8-year chip. The blackboard wall shatters, and the force knocks him out of bed.
Another happy landing.
And when he gets up, he sees a familiar word in the mirror.
Red rum! Red rum! Red rum!
See, Abra had a nightmare of this group of weirdos killing a kid in a baseball uniform. But it wasn't a nightmare. She saw it as it was actually happening.
I don't like that scary lady.
These people call themselves the True Knot, and they're run by this chick Rose.
Rose the Hat.
They're all shiny too, but they also hunt for anyone with the shining to kill them and take their energy.
We're young. Well, younger. But it's a start! How would they do that?
By snorting their souls like a line of coke. By doing this, they can extend their lives by hundreds of years. Like this old dude, Grandpa Flick. He was alive in ancient Roman times.
Fuck, you're old.
But their powers are all different from each other, so they have different jobs. Rose can sense people using their shine from like really far away, and she even sensed Abra when she levitated the spoons after her birthday party. But it was too quick for her psychic GPS to figure out where she was. But once she finds someone, the crow then goes out to the area and finds the source.
Sickle.
Then this chick, Snakebite Andy, lures the kid into the car with some kind of hypnosis, which she used to use on perverts that hurt kids. But one day Rose and Crow came over to her and were all, "You want to be young forever?" And she was like, "Okay," and let them do some freaky ritual on her.
Twist the bones and bend the back.
And now she's the one that hurts them after becoming addicted to snorting souls.
We will share.
So once they find a kid that shines, they abduct them, torture them, and then trap what's left of their soul in a thermos to use when they haven't murdered a kid in a while.
Spending a quiet evening at home. Sucking the lives out of little children.
But when Abra saw him doing this to Baseball Boy, Rose felt it and realized how powerful she must be. She's pretty sure it was a girl on the East Coast, and Crow's really impressed that she could watch them from that far away.
She's the great white whale.
He wants to start searching for her immediately, because the whole reason that they kill kids is that eventually shiny kids' parents take them to shrinks who drug them up and contaminate their steam.
It gets polluted.
But Rose tells him that she's too powerful for that to affect her, and she also knows that she'll come back. Meanwhile, Abra's parents are trying to calm their daughter down, who's screaming about a boy being murdered in her dream, and Danny's trying to figure out how to help her too.
What the hell am I supposed to do?
The next day, she pretends like nothing's wrong, then goes on a missing children's database and finds out that Baseball Boy is a kid named Bradley Trevor. He went missing right after a game that his parents didn't bother to attend. Then when none of his coaches or teammates' parents bothered to take him home, he had to walk home in the country by himself.
Well, you're 8. Go by yourself.
I mean, it's one thing to let your 11-year-old walk home alone in town, but not when he's surrounded by nothing but cornfields.
So nobody can hear you scream.
She prints his page off, and when she gets home, she realizes that she can relive his murder by concentrating on it. She's able to see the road signs of where they killed him, and decides to do one better and psychically stalk him.
Like GPS, but in my head.
She ends up inside Rose's body, but she notices like immediately, and messes with Abra to find out who she is. But Abra pushes her out and knocks Rose on her ass.
She seems to be on top of things.
So the next day, Abra ditches school to go find Danny to get his help. She makes sure it's him telepathically.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
But Danny's worried people will think he's some kind of perv when they go to talk.
A little fucking pedo creep.
She's not worried though, and says that she'll just call him her uncle. Turns out, when she kicked Rose out of her head, she also knocked Danny the fuck out and had him mumbling about Tony again. So he's already freaked out when she says that she wants to track him down and stop him.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
She has a plan for Danny to go to Iowa and dig up Baseball Boy's body and bring his glove back to her. Since Barry the Chunk played with it, Abra thinks that she can use it to track him. But Danny's like, "You want me to go 1,000 miles away to dig up a kid's dead body, then transport evidence of a murder/kidnapping across multiple state lines?"
Do you have a plan B?
Then he tells her to go home and pretend like she doesn't shine, and then he fucks off. Which is a real dick move because she just made it clear that pretending that she can't do all this shit around her parents makes her feel bad.
You don't have to be an asshole about it.
Then that night, Azzy leads him into an empty room, but it's not really empty, and he starts to shove whatever ghost showed up into a box before realizing it's Dick.
He was gonna lock it in a coffin before even seeing who it was?
Yeah, you'd think that he would assume any ghost in the nursing home was a patient that hadn't moved on.
Make sure you guys don't do this.
No! Dick wants him to help Abra because the True Knot are going to be able to find her, but Danny just whines about it.
Why me?
So Dick's like, "Listen, bitch, I dragged myself across the fucking country to save you when you called, and you couldn't even bother to give me a force call to tell me I was about to be killed with an axe. You owe me, so nut up and help the kid."
I have a bad feeling about this.
By the way, I'm never coming back, have a nice life. And he fucks up.
Goodbye, old friend. May the force be with you.
And Dick was right, because Crow was able to find an article about a freak earthquake that only affected one street that happened just as Abra yeeted Rose out of her body.
My stuff is so shiny.
So that night, Rose teleports her consciousness to that street and enters Abra's mind while she's sleeping. Her plan is to plant the idea that they're friends into her head, so when they tell her to come with them, she'll be like, okay.
She'll be so happy to see us, she'll just hop right in the van.
Well, how would that work? She's already seen them kill a little boy.
Shut up. Rose is gonna rifle through Abra's memory warehouse and remove the memory of Baseball Boy.
I'm filing that in the who gives a shit section of my memory warehouse.
But Abra pulled it sneaky and trapped Rose's hand in a memory filing cabinet.
Let's turn what they come for against them.
Then she entered Rose's mind, which is a cathedral filled with card catalogs, and started rummaging around.
Who could empty information from the archives? That's impossible, isn't it?
Rose escapes, but the force of getting out knocks her ass off the top of her trailer. But just as they're dealing with Rose getting her ass kicked and fucking up her hand, Barry the Chunk says that Grandpa Flick is dying. Snakebite Andy is like, what the fuck? I thought we were immortal. But Rose is like, bullshit, I never said that. I told you that eating souls of children would keep you young.
The more children's lives we snatch, the longer we shall live.
This dude has lived for thousands of years, and that's pretty fucking good. But when he dies, they honor him in their own special way.
Sucking them dry, that's how.
Meanwhile, Abra force calls Danny to tell him that she kicked Rose's ass, so now he knows he needs to help her. So he goes to Billy's apartment and asks for a small favor, which is him driving his buddy on a cross-country trip to dig up a murdered child's body. And he's like, okay.
He will not let me down. He never has.
They get there, and after digging for like 10 seconds, smell Baseball Boy's rotting corpse.
I let him become the smelly kid in class? What the hell's the matter with me?
Then after leaving Billy's DNA at the scene, they fuck off with the murder evidence to have Abra contaminate it with her DNA.
What about chain of evidence?
Danny tells Abra to show her parents about the True Knot people, but when he shows up to her house, it's pretty clear that her dad doesn't understand what's going on.
Did I miss something?
He thinks Danny's a child-killing pervert, until Abra shows him a vision of them killing Baseball Boy.
Holy God, what are you showing me?
At least now he knows why she freaked out after her nightmare, but she didn't have the luxury of getting drunk after like he did.
Bonafide cure-all.
Well, where's her mom?
Oh, she's visiting her dying mother.
Isn't that where you go to get cancer?
So Abra uses the glove to see where they are and realizes that they're on their way. Then Danny's like, let them see where you are. And Abra's like, okay.
So next time that bitch comes around, you'll be ready.
So some of the True Knot follow them into the woods where Abra's just chilling on a picnic table. She has no reaction when 6 people get out of an RV, but Snakebite Andy's doing her hypnosis thing, so maybe it works from that far away. But when Andy drugs Abra, she realizes that they pulled a sneaky and had Abra possess a stuffed rabbit. Then Danny and Billy start picking him off from the woods.
Then he vanished, just up and evaporated. Not a trace. Truly baffling.
They didn't wonder who drove her there?
Look, they're being led by a guy named Barry the Chunk. This isn't exactly the A-team.
Who are you?
Come on, man.
They kill everybody but Andy and have her cornered in the RV, but when Danny goes to kill her, he can't.
Does she tell him about being addicted to eating souls like he was alcohol, and that she never wanted to hurt kids and wants to get help?
Don't be stupid. He ran out of bullets. See, he forgot to reload the entire time he was slowly approaching the RV from the blind. And when he goes to reload, Andy uses her hypnosis thing on him.
You can't move, huh?
See, her thing was never about avenging kids, but about punishing men.
Fucking men.
But just when she's about to kill him, Billy shoots her. Then she makes Billy shoot himself, and then she dies.
Man, Danny's gonna have a hard time dealing with all those bodies by himself.
Actually, no. Since they're soul suckers, after they die, they just turn into dust.
We evaporate! We cease to exist!
So he just has to deal with Billy's body. But Abra realizes Crow isn't there just as he drugs her in her own kitchen.
Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
They had her stay at her own house?
Yeah, their plan was pretty stupid, especially when she and her dad could have just gone to Danny's place. No one even knew about him until the woods, so his place would have been totally safe. But no, they left her in a place Rose knew about, and now her dad is dead. All because he thought he could take on somebody who not only shines, but has also absorbed other people's shines all by himself.
Do you think you can handle that?
When Abra wakes up, Crow's like, your dad and my friends are dead because you had the audacity to not just let us kill you without a fight.
So he's mad at her because she didn't think it was easier to just die.
Exactly. But Abra's telepathy is dulled by the drugs.
Shiny. I'm so shiny.
And she can't get through to Danny, who's made it back to her house. There, he finds her dad dead, steals the scotch, and heads home.
Are you gonna take your medicine?
when he can't talk to Abra, he's about to give up.
I don't know where to look.
But then he remembers what his mom said and just listens.
Oh, Holly, you borrowed my panties again.
He's a horny bastard, isn't he?
I have a belly button.
I'm gonna have red beans for dinner.
He finally hears her and then projects himself into the car with her and says that he needs to possess her to get her out of this. When he does, he immediately lets Crow know what he's doing.
I'm the guy that killed your friends.
And even warns him on how he's gonna kill him.
Of course you wouldn't wear your seatbelt.
But the wreck kicks Danny back to his apartment. Abra then stands over Crow and watches him die. And she really seems to enjoy it, which, come to think of it, if she'd allowed her consciousness to leave the woods when Danny and Billy started the attack, she might have been able to tell Crow was after her. But she was enjoying watching them die so much that she didn't even notice that he was there until it was too late.
You didn't see that coming?
But she gloats as Crow dies, and then she starts walking to the nearest city, where Danny knows to pick her up since he saw the signs while he was possessing her. But on the way, Rose's consciousness shows up. See, she was watching the whole time and saw all her friends die.
That's not how this was supposed to go!
And I have to wonder if she's pissed because her friends are dead, or because they wasted all that high quality steam.
Such a waste!
But since Abra isn't phased at all, Rose decides to use all of her stash to take her down, and stupidly does so by snorting it all now, and not when she's actually ready to fight her.
Whenever I get nervous, I eat.
Danny picks Abra up and tells her his plan. He figures that since the Overlook was dangerous for them, it would want someone like her even more.
That's stupid. Maybe the Overlook would love somebody like her. It could team up with her, and she could bring her kills there, and then they could have its ghosts. Especially since it's been starving. Hell, it might even kill Danny and Abra before she gets there.
Well, it's the best he's got, so he takes her to the Overlook. When they get there, he makes Abra stay outside in the running car while he goes in to turn everything on.
You was like a 1,000,000-watt battery all plugged in.
He even goes to check out his old apartment and has a flashback of something he wasn't there to witness.
You weren't there. How could you know what happened?
Then he goes to the bar, where Lloyd offers him a drink. But this time, Lloyd looks like his father.
He was a mean son of a bitch. And when he died, I danced.
But unlike his dad, Danny refuses. So Jack spills a drink on him. And just like Grady did, Jack cleans him up in the men's room. He tells him that the hotel just wants him to step aside and allow Rose to kill Abra. So I'm not sure if the hotel can absorb her before Rose snorts her, or if her ghost will be shiny enough. But the hotel sure wants Abra now, and doesn't seem to give a shit about Danny.
Nobody shines like you.
But Abra interrupts, telling him that she sees Rose coming up the mountain. And they wait for her on the same stairs that his mom knocked his dad the fuck out with a baseball bat. But Danny prefers an axe.
Like my father before me.
He's prepared to hack up the psycho bitch that kills children, but it turns out not only is she hot, but she flirts with him too.
Hi there.
Hello there.
Seriously, handsome, where have you been hiding?
Oh God, is the power of boners gonna be strong?
There's a pickle.
Come on, he won't go to the dark side that easy. They trap her mind in the hedge maze, where she follows Abra's footprints to the middle. There, Abra's able to hurt her by teleporting her into different lanes of the maze and cutting her legs with a fillet knife. But she's able to grab her and claims that she was going to invite her to join them if she hadn't killed all her friends. Which is bullshit, because Crow wanted to turn her, and she was like, fuck no.
If she's what you say she is,
Then we don't want anyone with that power in the nos.
But just as Danny is about to slip her into a box, she breaks free. She's amazed that Danny was able to hide from him.
You and I should have met years ago.
Which they almost did, because back in 1980, while Danny was living in Florida, they killed this girl Violet right near where he was. But lucky for him, he was too traumatized to shine because his father tried to murder him with an axe.
Okay, wow, dodged a big time bullet on that.
She wants him to join her with the promise of no hangovers, which to anyone who's had one is a pretty sweet deal.
I haven't felt hungover in years, and you know I don't miss it, not even a little.
But he's like, nah, and hits her on the shoulder with the axe.
It's over! I have the high ground!
But she's all hopped up on dead little kid juice and takes it from him and stabs him in the thigh. And then she uses it to fling him down the stairs.
Could have just walked.
Then she squeezes the wound to get some steam out, and she's like, oh, that's some good shit, and gets even more hungry. And that's when she starts seeing flashbacks of the Overlook, and other things he didn't witness.
Well, I am psychic, you know.
But she senses all the boxes locked in his mind, and she's like, oh, hell yeah, you've got the good stuff locked up. But he's like, haha, they're gonna eat you, bitch. And they do. Like, seriously, all of them go for her, with an injured Danny just a foot away.
You're the important one.
And he just lays there bleeding while they snort her. But once they're done, they turn on him. And now he's like, ah, fuck. I probably should have planned for this.
How was I supposed to know? Can't see into the future, I'm not a witch.
And he tries to put them all back in their boxes, but there's too many of them, and they overpower him.
Do they snort him like a can of Coke?
No, they possess him and go after Abra. She runs, seeing all the ghosts that Danny just let free in this hotel, and ends up in room 237.
They've noticed that little girl.
So the old naked chick's gonna get a front row seat to the show.
Have you really got nothing else better to do?
Oh, come on. It's cool.
Danny comes in. The Abra's like, Danny's still in there, and your dumbass doesn't know what he did. He's gonna blow you up. Then Hotel Danny tries to kill her, while she just stupidly stands there.
What is she thinking?
But real Danny's able to stop at mid-swing. He's like, I told you to fucking run out of this evil, literal, soul-sucking place.
You had one job. Just the one.
She doesn't want to, but Danny lets her know that him dying here was always the plan. Then he tells her the hotel's taking back over, so she fucks off.
Get out of here! There's nothing more you can do!
But when the hotel does take over, this time instead of trying to kill her, he goes to the boiler, which is just about ready to blow.
Wait, Abra knew that Danny started the boiler to blow it up, but she still stayed inside?
Correct. If Danny was planning to live through this, and everything else went according to plan, Danny would have made it outside just to see the Overlook blow up with Abra inside.
Yes. Very sad. Anyway.
He tries to turn it off, but Danny takes back over and just sits back and waits for the fire to slowly spread.
Why doesn't he try to get out?
Well, Rose hit him in the femoral artery, so he was going to die anyway.
Yeah, but he could have made it to the road instead of just sitting there like an idiot and letting the soul-sucking hotel take him like it always wanted.
Forever and ever and ever.
True, but he sees his mom, which is probably just the hotel fucking with him to get him to stay, and he's like, it's easier to just die.
You okay, Doc?
Yeah, I'm okay. Everything's gonna be alright.
And Abra's still outside hoping he'll come out, probably because she's at the top of a mountain, and going down a road called the Sidewinder shouldn't be a 13-year-old's first driving experience.
It's dangerous.
But he never does. And as she just watches the hotel burn, trying to figure out what to do, she hears sirens. I guess the first thing Danny did wasn't turn on the boiler, it was letting the authorities know where to find the missing child of a murder victim.
Let's get you back to Mama.
So maybe he decided to let the hotel take him, so he wouldn't be blamed for her dad and Billy's murders.
There is no other explanation.
When Abra gets home, she gets a visit from Ghost Danny. She tells him that she heard the hotel die as it burned, so I guess Danny won after all.
I win.
And then he tells her the exact opposite of what he did before, and says be as shiny as you want. And also, that she has to retrap all the old ghosts he let out.
No, you earned it. Come again. Thanks. Hope to see you again soon. I'll come back, yeah.
I can make you an offer.
Depression, stress, remorse, failure, wipes it all away.
We're gonna do this, then let's do this.
So are we doing this or not?
I'm ready.
Come fly with me. Let's fly away.
You should go home.